Good morning, or good afternoon, y'all. For those who are just showing up, or for anybody who stops in, we are going to be doing a buddy read of Blindsighted by Zan Hough. Any minute, Zan and Ginger are going to join me, and we're going to talk about this amazing book, Blindsighted, which is an MM romance, which is probably the sweetest romance I've ever read. I absolutely adore it. I've read it 3 times this year, which I don't reread books because I don't have time because I read so many books right now. But we are going to be doing a buddy read any minute about Blindsight by Zan Hough. Oh, it is the best. Hi, Kat. Hi, Ginger.
Hi, my friend.
All right, I'm trying to figure out. Zan just showed up. Hi, Zan.
Hey there.
Good morning. How are you?
Let me see if I can get my video to working.
You're absolutely fine. Morning, Kat. We do our morning lives from 9 to 11. So we've already been live for a little bit this morning. So our camera got figured out the first live.
No, cheeks. Don't eat the honey.
But you have great lighting. Zan, I don't know how you have it set up. All of your videos have such great lighting.
Oh, really? I was worried about that this morning.
No, it's really it looks good. Do you have light? Are you just natural lighting, or is there a lighting set in front of you?
There's actually both. There's this huge window on this side. So that's the best lighting, I think, for video, right? And then I've got a ring light in front of me, and then I've got a light overhead.
Oh my God.
You do have a good lighting. Look at that.
Emma, do you want to come up with us since you read it? The Blindsighted, you're more than happy. Just request to come up. I don't want to force anybody to come up to talk to us live. If you have read the amazing Blindsighted by Zan Hough, okay, I'll send you an invite, girl, and just accept it. So we're going to be talking about Blindsighted by the amazing Zan Hough. This book is what I am calling it. Okay, I don't know if I've told you this yet, Zan. It is officially the chicken noodle soup for your soul romance of all romances, because it really is like a cozy. I don't know any other way of saying it, but a cozy romance. It is so sweet.
By that. I saw that post this morning.
It was so good. I'm obsessed. Also, sorry, I'm still making coffee. It's only 8 in Alaska. And I fell asleep listening to the book last night and then had to wake up at 6 this morning going I have to finish it before the thing. So literally finished it 46 seconds ago.
Oh wow. My gosh, so it's really fresh in your mind.
Really fresh, really great. Loved it so much.
Good morning. Good morning,
I'm giving it to my 13-year-old daughter this morning to start.
That's exactly what I designed it for. That's exactly it.
She is obsessed with male romance. She's a very queer little 13-year-old herself and is obsessed with male romance and loves the Heartstopper graphic novels. And I was telling her about it and I said, oh, this is another male romance. And she goes, what's a mailman romance? She just heard, it's no, it's not about mailmen. And she's oh, boy love. I was yes, baby, boy love. And she's great.
Yeah.
And it really is that 13, 14-year-old age. I feel like it's kind of perfect for that coming of age, discovering yourself.
Such a healthy depiction of love. It's not trauma. It's not bad feels. It's not toxicity. It's just healthy love can be healthy and wonderful.
Oh, gosh,
exactly.
And discovering how you get there, because it wasn't sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Sorry, I'm so excited about it. Emma, your blanket. Have you, Zan? Emma, Zan. Emma is making Dungeon Crawler Carl blankets that she crochets that are absolutely insane and amazing. Nice. So if you see messages about her blankets, because they're epic. And just so you know. So everybody that's joining us, we are talking with Zan, the author of Blindsighted, a very amazing young adult MM romance, just cozy and comfy and love, and not really high stakes, but it really does bring the emotions and all the feels. And yeah, Ginger yesterday, she kept on saying, oh, this is just so sweet. I was I know. So Zan, for those that haven't read it, how would you describe Blindsighted to those who haven't read it, I guess?
I think you described the best like adjective I've heard so far is cozy. I had not thought of that word until you said it, but I think that kind of fits, and I've used it a lot since you said it too, by the way, because it fits that whole thing. It's not meant to be like most people see two guys on the cover and they immediately go to spicy. And it's really not that. It was completely designed to be a book. It was exactly what happened with Emma, that a parent and a child could pass between each other and feel not icky about. And that was something that was really important to me to do because I didn't have that growing up. I would have loved to have, because my mother misunderstood everything. God, I love her. Mothers misunderstand their children. It just happens. It's going to happen. And so if I had a book that I would have said, here, Mom, you don't have to learn this from me. You can learn some of these things that are just happening in this generation through this book. And that was my ultimate goal, was to be able to have that. And then that understanding just comes naturally after that, I hope.
It really does. I think if somebody, like you said, your mom were to pick it up and read it, I think the emotions speak so clearly to what's going on with this, not what's going on with this generation. That sounds bad, but like what this generation is feeling and how they're feeling and how maybe our parents weren't exposed to these things, but this book kind of shows and highlights the good, the bad, and the ugly, but in a good way, because there are points and characters that kind of did go through some challenges in their life, accepting themselves who they are, but then they found the right family for them, their stepdad and all these other things. And their parent said, whoa, no, we accept you for who you are. And we're not going to let you live in an environment that isn't accepting and loving of you. So it really did, to me, speak to kind of the struggles that a lot of queer youth go through youth go through in general, but then add the queer youth on top of it. It really, I think, could help the older generation learn just a little bit more. And it's such a loving way.
It's a hug to Gen X and older that's reading this book. That was something else I wanted to accomplish, was to reach people like me who didn't have these books. You know what I mean? And so it's so important to like kind of go back and meet your younger self again, and revisit these feelings that you had and be validated by them for once, that we didn't get that.
I actually felt, did y'all feel like y'all are going right back to high school in that sweet, like, romance of like, oh my God, do they like me? Do they not like me? Oh my God, I want to look at them and take a random sneak peek picture of them while they're looking, just so I can have it on my phone. Did it make y'all feel that way?
Yeah, I was jealous, honestly. Because I didn't have romance in high school, so I was like, I wanted this. It's so beautiful.
I had high school romance, but it was toxic. It was awful. It was not a healthy thing. So this was like, okay, like, and I know this is all like a work of fiction, but it gave me very much like the kids are all right vibes. Like, like they can move forward and be healthy and do things the right, and not saying that, everything's going to be perfect all of the time. But like they're having conversations, like my daughter's having conversations with her friends about like, hey, this crossed my boundaries. I don't appreciate when you do this. And
That's
it's like,
awesome.
That's nothing I would have ever thought to say at 13 years old. And the friend apologized and said, okay, like, how can we work? And it's just like, what do you mean? Little teenage baby girls are not being backstabby and awful. They're saying you crossed my boundary. And the other one's saying, I'm sorry. How do we make it right? Like, the kids are all right.
Like, growing up, I didn't know kids were allowed to have boundaries. Like, really, truly, I didn't even know that was something we were allowed to have. And now the kids are understanding that they are individuals that can.
You were your parents' property as a kid.
Right.
You're not your own fully formed individual person. And so...
Right.
And you all bring up a really great side point to this whole thing, is that this isn't just about a romantic relationship. These are relationships between a really great friends group and then those friends groups merging. And it was really important.
That is uncommon, though, back in our day. That didn't happen. You were there, and then it's like, if you go over to date that person, you're like, okay, you're done. You're not in our group anymore. We don't want to.
And I know we're kind of all over the place, but that part you did so well, because back in our day, you would have been like, well, he likes me, so I'm just going to forget about who I am as a person and my friends and all these things, because I want to I want to be where somebody is showing me affection, right? I don't like, it didn't matter. I will do whatever I need to do to keep that affection versus saying, hey, who am I? Who do I really want to be? And who's important to me? What's important to me? And I need to make sure if I have a partner that they also respect that. And that is, especially as a teenage, I didn't know that was an option either. Like that just what I was so.
It almost didn't happen for, Kate and Neil struggled with that. They had plenty of times where they struggled with trying to merge those two, and Cade making, awkward statements that he didn't really mean, trying to get his way. And there was a little bit of manipulation that happened, and he had to come to terms with that too.
Okay, so I might have quite a few questions for you, Zan, and ladies. If y'all have questions, please. I'm not going to monopolize the whole conversation. I started jotting down 1,000,001 questions because when I read this, I think I even messaged Zan a few times being like, oh my gosh, how were you able to do a few different things? So are you ready, Zan, for a bazillion questions?
This is fun.
Okay. What inspired you to make blindness part of this story? I thought that was a very interesting take. Where did that come from? What inspired you?
So I started thinking about what is the best way to get past, for example, your awkwardness and trying to talk to somebody. Now you've got this awkwardness, and it's a reverse trope. You've got an athlete who has difficulty trying to talk to the nerd, and in a sense, is the nerd, and it takes him years to do this. And so I think taking away one sense, just one, felt like the right thing to do to be able to get him past that. And, we're all, I think most of us are, pretty much visual people that way. If you take that away, what happens? And so the guards came down, and he was more dependent on Neil at that point. So when you have a dependency, you tend to trust more, and also trust yourself and, and your instincts. And I think that kind of was where I went with that. And honestly, after I came to that, I started just writing, and it was really bad. But the flow was there. The flow was going there, but the writing was bad. But I could not, it took me a while, probably took me about 6 months to try to just net that out. And it turned out, and also the train was a part of that, because that was it's the journey towards their relationship. So the train represented that. And I remember sitting with a friend, and she said, I want you to think about your past, and it's all going by, like you're on a train. And I was just like, that's it. All of all their experiences were flowing by them as they were going by. That's why he's thinking about Kyle as he's going by, what went wrong with Kyle. Everything's just kind of going by as he's dealing with this new relationship and heading towards something new. And it was just the greatest thing I could think of way to express where they were going. The earth was literally moving under them.
Oh my God. And now this book is even better. Damn it, Dan. You really I did not connect that. Ladies, did y'all connect that train moving towards that?
I didn't think about that.
But I love it now that it's pointed out.
For sure.
It's just a lot of sensory things I was trying to move into that without being completely like, okay, this is what I'm doing. It's like you were probably feeling those things that I was trying to convey.
That you really do feel those things, but I didn't realize you're literally taking us on a train ride there. Like I didn't see that, but it really felt that way.
We're all going on a journey. Their entire class was going. They were all going on this journey with them. They were all going to transform at the same time with him, and it was all part of the process. That they're kind of changing the world in a lot of ways.
That's awesome. I was going to say, I am an eyeball person. I do glasses and eyewear, so I work with them all the time. So when Quincy's like, oh, and he's blind, and he goes, I'm like, oh shit, what happens? Like, what is going on? And so then as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, and then it comes, and you're like, oh, I have to just chill him out for a few days. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I didn't want him to be like forever blind or whatever. So did you think about when you were saying, okay, I'm going to take away that sight, did you kind of go through and say, how am I going to do that? That's reasonable and believable, but then let things come back, after some days.
Yeah, I just didn't know how he was going to lose his sight, because how does that happen? I mean, you don't ever hear about someone losing their vision for a couple of days, and he didn't really lose his vision. It was just he was protecting, I think, his his eyes, and they were covered, so he was just kind of,
bandaged and healing.
Right.
Exactly. So it's like he was on a healing process, and in so many ways, it wasn't just his vision. He was healing like who he was. And I think you see that later in the series too, because book 2 is coming out in November, but book 3, we go back to their 8th grade year when they met.
Were they met?
Oh, yeah. I remember he tells that. Mm-hmm.
So they'll start from that point, and you get to see like what happened to them, because they kind of did click right away, and then they got separated for a reason, and then it just kind of got away from them. But I don't think they didn't get very far because they're in the same school and they're crossing this other stuff. And Neil gets a little coy in book 2 and book 1 by saying, what were you like before this? He knew.
Yeah.
This is what you say to somebody who you don't want to know that you've been noticing them.
Right.
So on your vision board, like I just imagine like authors have a vision board or they jot down things. Like, was the first thing you thought of as Neil and Cade? What brought you to these characters? Was it the blindness? Is like, oh, I think I want to do this story about this blind kid, or was it Neil and Cade? You saw their character and then it fleshed out from that, or what did that look like for you?
I think I wanted to show the relationship that wasn't normal more than anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like this ordinary story that is great. You get that from all these other stories like Heartstopper, and it is probably the closest to that type of thing. But in this one, it just felt like, I hope I'm answering your question on this, but it's just,
we're talking. Listen, even if you don't answer my question, we're talking about your book. That's all that matters. So you're fine. Go ahead.
I get into my process sometimes, and I'm just like, okay. So I don't know that I can answer your question, but I guess I thought of the two of them first, and it's interesting because I have one of the greatest editors ever. His name is Sophia Blackwell out of London, the UK, and she didn't feel like their friends didn't have a big enough role in the beginning. So it was just the two of them. And it was just kind of like, you're just following Neil and Cade do around. But when I added the characters in, it added such layer because it wasn't just somebody to talk to. It's like they actually had the story too. So it's like, that's where it went from just the Neil and Cade story to the whole story, the whole group. And I'd already had all of those characters in there, but I hadn't fleshed them out into who they were. But it just kind of became this natural process. And I'm so grateful for where it went because Sophia said the right things. And, and then John did my cover. And it's like, even when the cover came together, I was just the first one. We had a first one that was very blue. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. No. And it was, it kind of looks like an inverted version of the current book, but it was all just kind of like a negative of this.
The cover is so beautiful though. Like I'm a Kindle and an audiobook girly. I'm not a physical book girly, and I am buying a copy of this for my physical bookshelf because the cover's just that pretty. My daughter saw the cover up when I was listening to it on Audible, and she walks by and she goes, "Gay!" And I said, "Yes, baby, gay." She's like, "I want it." I'm like, cool, we'll get it.
Well, see, on the cover also, you'll notice that it's, I'm sorry, Jeff.
I was going to say, tell us who John is for those who don't know.
John is my husband, and he's a graphic designer. So I'll plug him on this one. He doesn't do book covers, though. So it's like, that's not a thing.
That sounds like a lie.
He did a really good
real well.
He did this one for me, and I'll show you the sketch out for the next book if you want to see it. But all the colors kind of just represent this whole like watercolor thing because that was the perfect. I thought he came up with a great concept of that with the watercolors because that just feels a little teenage, but that merge where you're just transforming. So I wasn't crazy about the Eiffel Tower because that's such a, like, you see that all the time on books, but it's like the way he did it. I just really love the action around it.
And it does feel like, the Eiffel Tower is more of an afterthought. That's not the main point of the cover. So it isn't like in your face. It's not like this big Eiffel Tower and they're kissing right underneath it. Spoiler, no spoilers. Sorry, y'all. But like, which is kind of more of a cliche Eiffel Tower moment because it does feel like I love it. I think it's great. And that's why you're the only book that I've read more than once this year. Or no, I take that. There's one other book that I've read twice, but I've read it 3 times. And then it's also why, because I love it so much, it's why I kind of play around where I put it on my bookshelves.
I've noticed it every time it's moved.
I know. I love that you notice. It's so fun.
It's like find the book.
It's where Waldo, but where's Blindsighted.
Yeah.
There's a trick in the covers of my book too that it's just like, so you guys understand, is that this was chapter 5. And people see this book and they think this is the final chapter. That's the truth. You get this, and I think people, and tell me if you know what you thought when you got to chapter 5 and you saw the Eiffel Tower. I was like, is that it? Because I think a lot of people expect that to be the end, and it's like that. It's supposed to get better from that point forward, and that's supposed to be the catalyst for that.
Well, I actually said that to Quilty when I was reading most of it yesterday. I was like, I'm just a few, like, not too many chapters in, and like the trip is over. Like, what's going to happen now? And then I told him, like, well, but it was so good to see that this magic happens on the trip, and then it goes back to real life, but the magic still stays. And that's so important because it doesn't always happen that way. So it was so nice to see that transition into real life post like this magical trip that they were on, and then how they're going to deal with all that with school, with parents, with friends. It was really nice to see that transition into that portion.
Yeah, how they're going to navigate it, because a lot of the time the book does end kind of when the vacation ends and you're like, oh yeah, that magical moment. But really, we all have had real life relationships. We all have lived life, and we know that it's very easy to have a vacation holiday romance that then doesn't survive that. You get home, or being in high school especially, you like become the like, oh, icky, now I don't want to even know that you exist. Like, at least, I don't know if y'all have had that experience. I've had that experience where it's like, yeah, I know we talked to each other and we made out, but now
it's
we're
our secret thing, and no one else can know because we don't actually like each other. And the horrors of if anyone found out that we were actually together, I'll be
Yes.
on my grave.
Heaven forbid.
Yes, and I was so fearful of that. That actually, it took me so much. The first time go round reading this, it took me twice as long, because I would pause it and be like, they have to be okay. They just have to be okay. And I found myself like going longer and longer from picking it back up, because I was so fearful that you're going to destroy my heart. Like, I literally thought you were going to destroy my heart, Zan. I know I've reached out to you and I reached out to Ginger. I was like, I'm worried that this is going to be the most depressing book in the whole wide world, because it can't be this good. It can't be this sweet.
Yeah.
You know? I was like, 3rd act breakup, but like, it wasn't as like not traumatic. Like, I was worried you were literally going to make me sob and I was going to not be able to talk to you ever again.
That 3rd act, the like event that they have that was a boundary problem. It always boils down to a boundary problem, or at least it seems to. And that was kind of important, you know, because I couldn't sweetify it all the way to the end like that. It's real life. They're going to have some problems, but
there had to be some conflict somewhere.
They had to have it, and they do. I mean, they have conflict throughout the entire series, but most of it is external, and then how they internalize that external problem. Well, and it just was fun.
I was going to say that I appreciated that so much with having the boundaries, and Neil saying that this is crossed, like I don't appreciate that, and I need to back off just a little bit, or, you know, I just need to figure things out for myself. And that's so good, because like Emma was saying, kids these days are able to say that now, and they need to know that it's okay to express those boundaries, to make them known, to have that communication, and be able to, you know, say what's on their mind without fear of like losing everything. But I was also going to say that I really, really liked how you had that like 3rd person omniscient, where you can know what Neil's thinking, you know what Cade's thinking, you know what they're all thinking. And that's so great instead of just having that one narrow mind where, oh, he doesn't really like me, he's just doing this, he's just acting, blah, blah, blah. But then you also have the other side where he's like, I am smitten, I, you know, want to do everything I can, he's so kind. And I loved all of that. It was very, very well done.
Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely.
Especially because I struggled with it, because a lot of people really want to read in 1st person. That's a very comfortable thing for most people to do. So I struggled with which one. I wrote probably the first 7, 8 chapters first person as a kind of an exercise to figure out if it was better in first person, and it just wasn't. I needed that, almost that God look at it to say, this is what's going on with all these people, and tried to balance that with people that are not comfortable with third person. There's a lot of people that just don't enjoy third person, but this just couldn't be written that way. I didn't want to go back and forth chapter to chapter with people's perspectives.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's not always my favorite.
Yeah, it's done a lot, and I appreciate that this was not done that way. Completely. Okay, so you were talking about how your editor said, hey, we need to bring some of these side characters into more reality, more life. You did such a great job. I want to hear what everybody's favorite side character is. Mine's Mags. I want to be her best friend. Is she based off of somebody? And if so, can me and her have coffee one day? Because she is such an awesome person. I love her to pieces. So, Zan, who's your favorite side character that you wrote?
Sophie. Yeah, she's definitely my favorite.
Sophie was mine too. I like
Sophie as well. Yep.
I cry still to this day reading her chapter or listening to her chapter. Reading it doesn't matter. I cry every single time with her chapter because it was her mother that just was I think she was the breakout hero of the whole book.
I will protect you.
Yes.
No matter what.
I got you. We'll do this. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm.
And she didn't hesitate. The only hesitation she had was like the heartbreak of like she didn't know, when she saw, Saul the first time in the store. It was to me, it still breaks my heart. I almost tear up now thinking about it.
And then the how do I keep my child safe? I love them and will accept them wholeheartedly, but the world won't always. How do I let them be themselves and still keep them safe?
Right.
The conversation of can we keep this between ourselves just for a little bit? It's not hide yourself forever. It's let me.
It is on audio demo. Mm-hmm. The audiobook is fantastic as well.
The narrator is absolutely out of this world. Really fantastic. And Zan told me the narrator had to learn Italian to do this? Is that correct?
He had to develop his Italian accent. He originally said, and it actually wasn't the Italian that was the problem, was the Southern accent that he had a problem with. And he said, because he's from Connecticut. And so he said that he was
a little different.
And he was a little worried about coming across as flippant with the Southern accent, which is very easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
I explained to him, I was like, okay, so here's what I want you to think about. These kids are in a private prep school in Nashville. Because you're in New York, I want you to think of a private school student in Manhattan. Do they have a New York accent? No, they absolutely do not.
They're trained not to, really, right?
People pay big money for their kids not to have that. And so hey, bear, quarter. And so think about that in Nashville. Would those kids have a Southern accent? Unlikely. They would have it every once in a while. They would say certain things. So I told him, I was like, when Cade is trying to be a little playfully manipulative with Neil, he might say, come join me, darling, or something like that. That's when you can kind of milk it, and it's okay for it to sound silly.
Mm-hmm.
So he really kind of worked through the process of that, because I think he felt uncomfortable, like he was going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like he was going to be, he was not going to uglify the Southern accent unintentionally.
Right.
And so,
no. He did great. As a Southerner, I say he was fantastic.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't pick it up, and you can't.
She probably got a call.
I apologize. I got a spam call. Don't they know I'm live? Isn't that just so rude? But let's go say, I know that people can really ham up the Southern accent. He didn't do that at all. And everything felt very authentic to me. I know, at no point in my ears go, ooh, I don't like that, where it has happened in audio,
The only time that happened on the original recordings that we were going through and trying to figure out how to do certain things was in the beginning, he had Cade a little desperate.
Oh, did he?
And I was like, Cade's not going to be desperate, especially in the beginning. He's cocky. He's he knows his place. He's not going to be desperate. He thinks he's hot shit. He knows everybody's watching him. He knows he's the catch of the school. He's like, he's not going to be, because it was at the train where he, was like, please call on me, if you need me.
Uh-huh.
He was like, please call. And I was like, no.
Oh, no. I love the scene. And I'm not even looking at my questions. I'm just so in love with this book. I get so excited to talk about everything. So I love the part where Neil has a moment where he can be the real superhero and protector when it wasn't that way for the majority of the book. It was always the other way around. But when he realized Kate's friends were jerks and they were not treating him fair, that he finally found his voice in this group of people that he's felt insecure with this whole time, and he became the protector. And then just that whole scene, I just got goosebumps again. I've gotten goosebumps this whole conversation over and over again. That whole scene really stuck with me as being so important, to be the protector of your person. And so often my husband's like the protector, right? But every once in a while, the protector needs protecting. And it was just a very beautiful way. The way you did it was just so beautifully done.
Was it the lake scene you're talking about? The lake scene for New Year's? Yeah.
Yep. I was like, ooh, get it. You tell them.
Sometimes you got to step up to the plate. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just like he said, your person's important. You got to step up, whatever. But Cade was kind of showing him who he was in a lot of ways, as something, a vulnerable part of him that, he doesn't show. He didn't want to show him, but that was who he was before he was with Neil. So how are we going to deal with that?
I love that. This book feels incredibly full of love and intimacy, with relying heavily on spice. How did you create the sense of closeness and chemistry between the characters and avoiding the actual spice part and not making us feel like we're missing it? Sorry, that was a lot in one little question. I apologize.
No, I appreciate that. I think I got all of that. It's I focused on the relationship and the connection more than the sexuality of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I think this comes from conversations with my mother over the last 50 years or so, for various things, because she picked up the cover and she saw the cover and she was like, oh, it's a story about two guys in love. And I'm like, no, Mom, actually, was told me she hadn't read it. That it's not just about that. It's about relationships. And sometimes those relationships aren't between two people in love. They're between friends and everything else. So it's like, if we, intimacy that isn't always sexual.
Correct.
So it's like, if we develop the relationships and we develop, those things, especially if you're in a, relationship, monogamous relationship with somebody or otherwise, that intimacy becomes more important, I think, especially externally. I mean, you're looking at these two externally like this, that you almost, I hope, don't need that to understand how they feel about each other.
Not even a little.
Not even a little. And I read a lot of spice. But at the end of the book, I realized there was none, and I didn't miss that at all. I felt more fulfilled.
Didn't feel like it was lacking anything.
At all. It really didn't. It was very beautifully done.
It was so sweet and tender. And I do love that it is perfect for me to comfortably share with my young teenage daughter. That's a huge thing for me. I grew up in the Wattpad fanfic. If I wanted queer romance, I was going and finding fan fiction and read a whole bunch of stuff I probably should not have been reading at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old to get clear depictions of what life could be, which, it is what it is. It's neither here nor there, but I loved having something healthy and safe that I can share with her.
And that's the other piece, that fanfic wasn't healthy relationship. I mean, you might have found the one in a million, but you probably didn't find very healthy relationships in that fan fiction. So you're getting guidance through these fanfics that aren't even.
This is what love is supposed to look like, and it's like, oh, this is so toxic, actually.
Right.
And as a parent, we're all parents on here. I am always trying to reiterate that with my kiddo. Hey, these relationships you're seeing in reality TV, on these series, on these shows, that's not healthy relationships. That is drama. That's keeping you engaged. That's not healthy. You don't want that. Right.
That's why I wanted this to be. This is the normal. This should be the normal. What I was describing, and instead of like, because we see all these toxic relationships, and that's entertainment. That's not. You can't live in that relationship, or most people don't, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Okay,
I think too. Oh, sorry. I was going to say. I think too that not only is this for queer youth, but any youth or even adults could read and get good information about healthy relationships and about setting boundaries and then how to talk when that boundary was crossed. There's so much good stuff that really anybody could get out of this. And I think that's huge that it can appeal to such a wide readership as well. It's so good.
And I actually, every time I do a post about it, I always say it's MM romance. And there's been a few times where I almost didn't. Because I'm torn, because I feel like it's for anybody and everybody. Anybody and everybody could love and appreciate this book. But I do want to make sure that the queer youth out there do know that this is a book that they can pick up and they can see themselves represented. So it's been like this, just so you know, this turmoil for myself to like, because I wanted everybody to know that anybody and everybody could pick it up and really love and appreciate it. And I might do a whole video just on that alone, because it really, I've struggled with how to advertise it, hype it up for everybody to realize that it's not just for queer youth. It's not just for this one demographic. It's for anybody and everybody who likes love. If you want to be loved, you know,
be loved. If you want a friend, if you want to be loved, if you want a lifelong friend, that's what I think this book is more about. Agreed,
completely. So you are very specific about the drink orders in this book.
Yeah.
So as an ex-barista of 11 years, I need to know, one, did you have an annoying ex-boyfriend that had the green tea horrible drink mix that you're like, oh my God, this person annoyed the crap out of me. I have to have their drink in this book.
So where that came from, my son, when he was in college, worked for Starbucks. And like he would come home and he would tell me about, you know, all these crazy drink orders. And he's now a writer also. He has a book out that's coming out as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so he actually, well, I'll talk about him another time, but it's like
but we want to know. Don't forget.
We do want to know about his book because we want to hype him up too.
His name is Reed Black, and he's got a really great story. It's a D&D version, but all the characters are breakfast foods. And so they're going on a journey. The whole thing.
I love breakfast.
We love breakfast. We love D&D. We love lit RPG. Like literally that's the three of our genres are the.
It's our jam.
Yeah, that's our jam.
Yep.
Send them our way. We want to hype him up.
Yep. Yeah, he's revamping the whole thing now. He was working with Penguin Random House, but I think he's probably going to wind up going independent. It was before COVID that he got the deal, and they got bought out, and there's been some problems. So, he's probably going to wind up going independent. But I think his agent is looking for another publishing house first, or I don't know what the real story is there. But
that's awesome.
It's just such an amazing story. He had a 2-book deal with them, so he's really far in the process, and it's kind of sad that it's not out yet. So it's like
sucks.
I kind of want him to go independent because he can control more of that than it's really easy for the top publishing houses to kill deals, but we all.
Yep. And we have found that it's been very advantageous for a lot of independents because they've got stuff already out there, and now the publishers are like, ooh, I want to buy that, and we're going to republish. We're going to publish it under our name with a different cover and all that stuff. That's been happening a lot, especially in this genre with DCC getting so big. Now they're pulling out everything else that they can find.
Aethon is doing that with a lot of lit RPG books that have been out for ages. They're revamping it and they're like, oh, we're re-releasing these under us. And they're all lit RPG. He's in the best genre. I know this is about you, but we love to hype up our children too and other authors. But lit RPG genre is the perfect genre right now. It's like really hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing I've loved about mine is being able to control it. And I was worried about falling into the same trap that I felt like he fell into with them because it was so exciting to get that deal. But then it doesn't necessarily mean it's ever going to get published.
Yeah.
And it's like, this was a story that I wanted to get out. And I don't really feel like I've been at much of a disadvantage. I mean, I was front and center at the American Librarians Association this year in Chicago. My book was in the middle.
Huge.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. It well deserved.
Yes.
So well deserved. So who started writing first? You or your son?
My son. Well, actually, no, I take it back. I've been writing. I think I won my first award like at 12 years old. I got 2 awards in school, and all of my teachers and like my parents, everybody was like, you gotta keep writing. And I did. I just didn't do anything with it. So I've been journaling and writing little short stories and things like that. But this was my first novel length. And originally Blindsighted was 100,000 words. And I was like, teenagers are not going to buy that.
That's a chonker.
And so that's where book 2 came from, was a lot of that material went into book 2.
That's so amazing. It's like kismet that happened right now. Though, because it sounds like everybody that picks it up loves it and it is hyping it up.
5-star review on almost everywhere except for Goodreads. And Goodreads, if I've got a 4 on Goodreads, I'm always happy because, like, it's Goodreads is just a little more critical because they're a little bit more serious book readers. So these people go through books like water, and I understand. If I get a 4, I'm happy, and I think I have a 4.4. I think I have 4.4 on Goodreads, but everywhere else is 4.9 or 5.0, and it's like, I mean, it like in July just took off like a rocket, and it just hasn't come back down ever since. So,
and it won't.
Awesome.
I don't think it will. I think you're just on that path to greatness for the rest from this point forward. This book is so good. That's your first book. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But again, I've been writing for a long time, but I just haven't. No one has like beta read for me ever. So it's like that whole process was interesting to learn, but I had to learn how to take criticism.
Oh, that's hard.
I could not. That must be the hardest challenge, actually.
It was to learn. I think that the first couple times someone, because it's like, these are my kids. All these characters are my kids now.
Right.
So, I live in that world with them, and I protect them, and I just I do things.
How dare you have anything bad to say about my babies ever?
So now when people I got 1-2 star review on Goodreads, and I really so badly just wanted to reach out and say, why? Please tell me. Not that's terrible, but tell me what I did wrong. And it was just one. It was just one, but I just really wanted to know. But instead I thought about it, and I commented on it, and I said, thanks for reading my debut novel. That's the only response I could come up with, was thanks for reading it. But I kind of want to know now. And it's like, I can take the criticism. I can take pretty harsh criticism now, because I kind of just want to know what it was that didn't click. But I can't reach everyone, and I have to realize that.
It's very interesting because you have all these positive reviews, but just the one bad one will be the one that nibbles at you and messes with you. I think I'd be the same way. So they say that YouTube, for book talkers and stuff, is the most nasty. How Goodreads is for authors. YouTube is they're not forgiving. They're ruthless. So I cross post. I don't look at any comments at all. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I don't want to be, I'm too sensitive. I don't want my feelings hurt. And that's not even a book. That's like a 30-second video that took me 3 minutes. How long did this book from start to finish take you?
A little over a year. I think it took a little over a year.
That's so impressive.
Really?
So we're just talking to, who are we talking to that also? Oh, another author friend of ours, Crit Happens. He's releasing his first book today. And he's like, it took a year. And I'm like, that's impressive. He goes, no, it's not. He had the exact same. He's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, that is, as a reader, I think that's super impressive.
I do too, but then there's people who put out books every 4 or 5 months. Look, Boslo is already at 2 this year. It's crazy. I don't know how they do that.
To do that, I remember Adam Silvera one time said in an interview, he wrote, "They're all everyone dies at the end." I think or they both die at the end. I think is the name of his title. And what if it's us? And so someone posted something that I finished it in 2 days, and he said, "F you." It took me 2 years to write that book, and I just thought, at the time I was like, "How rude!" And now after I finished this one, I was just like, "I get it now. I know why he said that."
No, I totally get it.
But you
I
consume
totally
so
would have.
quickly.
I finished this in a day. I mean, really, but that also should speak high volumes of the amount of time that took you to write it. We gobbled it up because a lot of time people will read a chapter or two and then they put it down. That we couldn't stop. That's how good it was. It was so good. We could not stop, Zan. It was amazing. But you're also like, dang, now you really want book 2. And I just started on that. When you,
Jeremy,
when
at least you did it.
Book 2's done.
So I was going to ask you, before book 1 came out for us to read, did you already have a good chunk of book 2 done so you would have it following pretty quickly?
I had about, let's see, because Blindsighted was about 75,000 words, and I had probably about 25,000 left over for book 2. So it gave me a pretty good start, because at first I was like, what else am I going to say about these kids? You know what I mean? But like, there was so much to say. And as I mapped it out, I realized that I had not only a book 2, but I had a book at that time, book 3. I know what's going to happen to them even after book 2. And so I started thinking about, well, if I've got enough for a third book in consecutive, then I probably should go back and visit what happens in the 8th grade first. And
My first live ever.
Okay. Jesus.
Excellent.
Gosh, natural. So if I wanted to go back and visit their 8th grade year and see how it all came to happen first before I do the finale.
I'm so excited for that.
Is it going to be just 3 books or 4 books? What do we think?
4 books.
Yay!
And I have it. If it continues to gain popularity, I think what I'm going to do, because it goes 1, 2, and then it goes back to 3 in the beginning, and then from that it ends the week before they go to Europe. So you know what happened, what that trigger was right there before, because we know what it is for Neil, but we don't know what it is for Kate.
Oh, true.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll go from that point to going to Europe the next week. Instead of going back to Europe the next week, because you've already read that, we're going to go to, like, I think it's like 10 years in the future to what the finale is.
Now, are any side characters going to get their own books later on?
Thank you for asking me that, because that's if it continues to gain popularity, I really want to do a book for each one of them.
If I don't get a Sophie spinoff, I will revolt. You don't understand.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Well, let me shake my phone. Gimme. And Mag and all of that. I need it.
I really want to do one for Sophie, because she's such a layered character. You know what I mean? It's like that whole scene with her and AJ at the prom is just so important. And
his response was so...
Don't you love that?
So
my
sweet.
heart. Oh, it's so good.
And I love too her mom, like when everything is all done and she comes home and her mom is like, "Do you feel safe?" And she's like, "Yes." And I was like,
I'm going to start crying. That question alone. Do you feel safe? Did you feel safe? Like,
and that's in the preview.
I got the cheer. Yeah. That's what you have.
You get the full scene in the second book almost right away, because it's, it goes from she leaves Neil's debate to go on that date with AJ. It's just,
oh my God.
And I got the chilies all over the legs and the arms.
I just love her progression at where she came from and how vulnerable she started at 8 years old, and how far she came when she, all of a sudden now she's like, she's got to figure out life now. And it's, it's going to be interesting for her, but she's got AJ.
Mm-hmm. Are you from the Nashville area? Is that why your story is set there, or?
Good question.
So I lived in Nashville for a number of years. So it's just kind of to me, I just love Nashville. I live in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I'll shoot up to Nashville every once in a while just to kind of, poke around and try to figure out stuff and whatever. And I was just up there. My youngest son and I drove up there a couple of weekends ago to just kind of get book 3 down, or I'm sorry, to get book 4 down, because there's some things that happen. Because a lot of those houses exist. They just don't exist the way that I have them in the book for privacy reasons. But it's I'm from Atlanta. I lived there for many, many years. And I just felt like I didn't need another Atlanta. I didn't need another New York. I didn't need another Chicago or LA. I needed something that was more middle America, more just ordinary, if you will. And I try to pick ordinary places like that. Not that Nashville's ordinary, but it's not one of America's biggest cities. And, there's dynamics there that I really wanted to pick up on that were more normalized to what most kids in the country experience.
And you did bring up, I think, if I remember correctly, like the bachelorette party or something happened in Nashville. Every time I'm in Nashville, there's 5 million bachelorette parties happening. It's like the Southern Vegas or something. It's very bizarre. Yeah. Like it's always
Nash Vegas, they call it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, when you mentioned that, I just thought it was kind of funny because I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely a big. I might be misremembering that, but I kind of in my mind said, oh, bachelorettes in Nashville are very. They're known for each other. But you're right. Nashville, while it's kind of a fun, happening place, it is very kind of just normal, everyday. It feels very normal American versus New York City or Chicago feels like big city.
Well, it also serves Cade's long-term story as well, because he's not only from a very antebellum, old Southern money family, but he also, as we found out later in the book, has musical talents. And so he's got some of that will come up later. And, it's just he's got this natural affinity to changing the lyrics of songs, as we found out.
Yes. I love it.
And he's a natural writer.
So bringing up music is a huge, had its own part to this book for sure. It felt like it was, in a way, its own little side character was the music choices and song choices. Now, did the music inspire the scenes or did the scenes inspire the music? And how do you find the perfect song for what you're going for?
So when I write, I listen to a lot of music, and it's weird. It's almost like there's somebody's trying to tell me something. Because I have said throughout the entire writing process, it felt like someone was dictating this to me. It really felt very psychic in that way. It felt like there was something that was saying, okay, so this is what you write next. And that the imagination was that more than it was me thinking, so what if I did this? No, it felt like someone was saying, do this the entire time. And so as I was listening to music, just out of nowhere, the perfect song would come up, and I would just write it from that song. So there's a lot of the scenes are kind of written around some of the music. And what's interesting about that is that a lot of those artists have reached out to me since then and thanked me for including them, like New Constellations. Awesome. And Theo Tam's reached out, and it's just been like this really wild thing. It's like, New Constellations know who I am?
That's so cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. Do you have a Spotify playlist for Blindsighted?
There is a Spotify playlist that my son just created, but it's created from the YouTube. So if you Google Blindsighted, Blindsighted 2, there's even a Blindsighted 3, and I think there's not a 4 yet, but there's 3 out there. But I think the first 2 are on Spotify now. So you can kind of listen along to the book while you're. Yeah.
This is a new phenomenon. I read a dark romance author that she had put at the very back, like my Spotify playlist. And I mentioned it and people were like, no, authors do that. So that's why I had to ask you. I didn't know that authors really did Spotify playlists. And I love that because I think listening to music while you're reading really brings you into a moment of you're kind of living the moment with them a little bit more.
Especially that prom scene, you got to listen to Die with a Smile to that scene.
Damn it. Now I'm going to have to read the book 4 times this year and I'm going to have to listen to
Just read that chapter. That there's something about that chapter that just really kind of hits quite a bit. And I don't know, there was the emotions of that song says exactly what they're feeling. And I did not write that particular scene based on that song. That song just appeared to me. I knew the song, but it just appeared to me while I was in the middle of trying to fix a few little like glitches in it. And I was like, oh my God. Like it starts off saying exactly what Kate is feeling.
Now, was there any songs that you changed that you had in the book, and then as you sat with it later on, you're like, yeah, nope, that's not giving the vibe I want, and then you changed it?
The final scene. Yeah. The final scene was originally, it was Sam Smith's I Feel Love, I think it was. The Donna Summer's old song was a cover of hers. And I felt like it sexualized it too far. It took it too far. And Hot Blooded by New Constellations kind of gave it the feel and a more of a modern feel to it as well. Even though Sam Smith's very modern, it was an older song, but it just felt a little more. I felt like I was, because I Feel Love, it feels very 1980s gay bar to me.
Yeah.
And that's not the vibe I wanted for that. So,
Right.
You weren't going for that look? That was not the feel, huh?
Yeah, these two just aren't 1980s gay vibes. They just don't have that. They're very modern that way.
And I'm not trying, I keep on going all over the place because one thing you say will remind me of something else in the book. But the part where they decided after prom that they were going to go the next step, go home, right? And instead of going to the empty house, going to the home full of love, that part, I just got goosebumps again.
Yeah, again,
part.
stop it. Yeah.
And then the fact that mom and dad immediately were like, oh, prom princes and look kings and like, oh, how are you?
Hug me. Here's some food.
Yeah.
I love it.
This isn't just a valuable part of a relationship, but you don't have in your family, you can gain in someone else's family. Isn't that just such a beautiful thing?
I know. I'm like getting all teary eyed too. Like,
so I'm happy I bring out emotions like this, but.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Emma.
Would we get a look in later books at how Cade's family reacts eventually? Like, will we get to see?
I think by chapter 10, you're already in the middle of that. And so his family, they fly in because they're never home. That's kind of the point. There's Tilda's there and that's it. And even his brother is gone most of the time with has a girlfriend named Amber. And but you get almost immediately, he comes out to his parents and introduces Neil in the most normal way because that's like Kate is normalized.
It's normal to him. So why would it be a big deal?
Right. So he introduces and it's kind of like kind of thing going on. And his brother Ryan already knew about like who Cade was. And we find a lot of that in book 1. Actually in book 3, when we go back, we'll kind of discover that relationship with his brother. But so his brother wasn't like, they were ready for this. They were like, it's about time, and Amber had been a family friend for a long time. And she was like, and encouraging him and whatever. And then the parents come home and they're just in this tizzy, just getting home, and they've just gotten off of their private jet, and they're just there's something. But his mother actually doesn't take as well as his father does, which is a very interesting twist. As well.
Interesting. I was curious as to how accurate Tilda's predictions of how they would take it would be.
Completely wrong. She's
no!
I've just envisioned this whole time that they're just going to be complete shits about it, and they're just going to be so mean. That's just how it seems like it's going to happen. But hopefully, it's not going to be the case.
His mother is. I wouldn't classify her as mean as much as she is that trad wife.
Traditional, stuck in her ways.
Yeah.
But the optics. How will this look to other people in society?
Exactly. You got to understand that they are at the top of the echelon when it comes to Nashville society, and they feel a responsibility to do things a certain way. So there's this whole conversation that his mother, Margaret, she winds up having this whole conversation with Kate about like how is any of this going to work, because Kate is destined to eventually take over Riley, the industry. And they have multiple companies, obviously, and they just have responsibilities to everyone. And they see themselves kind of like in the English world would have been like the lord of the land type of situation. They have responsibilities to employees and to maintaining things and whatever. And so Margaret has a difficulty understanding how in the world is that going to work with Neil, because Neil would have to step into her place at some particular point.
I picture very like Richard and Emily Gilmore. I don't know if you guys watched Gilmore Girls, but like Lorelai's parents, like the Nashville version of like Richard and Emily Gilmore.
I never watched that far into that, so I don't know that. I need to look at that then. Now that you said that, I'll have to go back and watch that.
Oh, yeah. A very pretentious, rich family dynamics of, and of course, the Gilmore Girls, Lorelai is the opposite. She's not this rich,
the free spirit.
Yeah, she's a free spirit, and her parents are like, oh, why are you the way you are? Like, why are you the way you are? Because they think you have to have this optics of being this perfect daughter and all these other things. So very similar.
That's very curious because Neil actually, the whole point of when they visited Naples, when he went to see his family in Naples, was to point out that Neil actually has a much longer lineage than Kate does. So he's like almost royalty in old Napoli. It's like that, like he goes back. His family's buried in the church. I mean, it's like they were there for 400 years like that. So kind of the point that's made there is that they're very equal throughout the entire thing. I mean, you've got one is the valedictorian and one is like the star athlete. So it's like they're two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. So when it gets later in life, Neil is very prepared. His mother is like the spokesperson for, Giordano's, which is, just this huge, chain of grocery stores that turns out to be restaurant suppliers and all kinds of other stuff. They're not as big as Riley, but there's old money, but for them going all the way back, and you actually find out like why they left, Naples originally. It was because of the, Mount Vesuvius had an eruption, which is what drove them out right after World War II. And so, because you think they left because of World War II, it's not. It was Vesuvius.
And did you have to do a whole bunch of, like, were you, like, looking historically at things to make sure that you were as historically accurate when you're writing these books moving, like, throughout?
Yeah, and I'm not 100% accurate on a lot of this stuff because it just can't be with fiction, but it's like, for the most part, I had to do a lot. This whole project was this huge thing of just research. I've never been to Italy.
That was gonna be my question, because I want to go to Italy one day. I envision Italy. I love the idea of Italy, but I've never been. Under the Tuscan Sun is as close as I've gone to Italy, is by watching that movie. And so is that kind of like you? You've never been to Italy, but have you always romanticized about it?
I've romanticized about it, but I don't have this great pull to Italy. But I think what I do have is I lived in New York for a number of years. And for example, I was living in Brooklyn and I was walking through this neighborhood. I was actually avoiding someone who knew that I got off at my stop. And so I went a further stop and walked back. So I wasn't familiar with the neighborhood. And I wound up getting accosted by a group of guys. But all these guys came out. This sounds like a movie set. All these Italian guys came up out of the ground practically from the kitchens and the bagel shops and all this other stuff to defend me because I look Italian.
That's awesome.
I love that, though. I mean, that's pretty.
They take care of each other. They really do. And it was this beautiful moment that they, I felt very protected by people that looked like me. They just assumed because I was there that I was Italian, and the people that were coming for me were not. And they were just like running them off and whatever. And I'm just like, thanks, guys. It was like, what do you do? And so I've developed this connection, and I've had, I've dated people that were Italian and, gone to crazy Thanksgivings because they had like, their foods everywhere. And that's where that came from. That
not saying no to seconds. I thought that was like all the little details that you put into the book is so perfect. Like the Italian grandma, like, no, you're not going to say no. What do you mean? You're going to eat every little morsel I give you and then more. Thank you.
She has a great scene in book 2 that you're going to love if you really picked up on that with her, is that
she's adorable.
She is, someone told me they see her as Marissa Tomei.
Okay.
If it ever got a live action Marissa Tomei. That's not who it was based on, but it's like, I could see her doing it now that someone said that. But, she just has this great line in the next book where she basically, without giving too much away, puts Kate on notice.
Oh, well, good for her.
because she's kind of like this sweet and salty kind of person. You know what I mean? It's like she is your best friend, but she reminds you should never cross that line with her. And
which is what all Italian grandmothers are, right? Is what I assume. They're both loving, and you should be fearful of them at all given times, right? A little love, a little fear, and that's exactly where it should be. And a lot of respect should be given to the Italian grandmas.
And it's like my first go at it, Cade didn't know how to respond to it, but the second go, I realized that Cade would respect that because that's how his family would be too. So it's like he saw that equality again, and it just made things more perfect, I think, for him, because he realized that Neil came from a family that knew how to handle situations.
Well, that's good.
So I'm looking through, because we're going all over the place, I literally have tons of questions. I was like, but we've touched it just authentically. So I'm just going through. Ladies, do you have any more questions while I'm looking through my list?
Do you have a history of like Catholicism? Is that personal?
I was raised Southern Catholic, which is very interesting. Like,
my dad was a New Orleans Catholic, so
okay, yeah, French Catholic. Yeah. Wow. So, what do I say about that? But I grew up in Atlanta, and it's like there weren't that many of us, and so it's like a lot of my friends I grew up with were Jewish, because back then, like, you know, all the religions kind of just hung out together. Like the Baptists were the big group, and it's like if you weren't Baptist, you were another. And it's thank God a lot of that's changed. You know, it's not quite as severe as it used to be. But I remember there was a kid in my elementary school who said to me, he said, "What church do you go to?" And I told him what church, and he said, "Okay." And he came back to me 10 minutes later. He goes, "What church do you go to?" And I said, "I just told you I go to this one." He was like, "Oh, I thought you were kidding." And and so that has stuck with me all these years, that like they don't even know that, or at that early of an age, they don't really know that other religions exist, or that other people unlike them exist. And so I was like, okay, that's an interesting dynamic. And I think growing up Southern Catholic actually helped me to see things I wouldn't have normally have seen. So I'm grateful for that in a lot of ways.
You wrote that, like I think I even reached out to you asking you very similar question. I was like, are you Catholic? Yeah. Because it feels like you really nailed it in that the support and love of the, like, is very respectful of the religion and everything. And I just thought it was very well done. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place this morning. When you were writing Neil's Neil's descriptions. Okay, this is what I wanted to ask you. When he was describing all the scenes and things are very poetic. Are you an artist? I'm so in awe of how beautifully written that he described everything he saw. It felt very much like you're drawing a painting for me. Like, and that's what he was going for, but it really came off as poetic almost.
So that started off really awkward because my editor said, not everything can be green and gold, Chris. Not everything can be green and gold. Everything you describe is green and gold. And so apparently I went overboard with that. So it's like I had to go back and rethink a lot of that. But then I started thinking about Neil had a huge responsibility to him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, Cade has probably seen this and will see it 100 times in his life because of his social status or his financial status. But Neil felt an obligation to get it right.
A responsibility.
Very much a responsibility is a better word for it. And it just, I think that, you know, in the larger story, I think that he was trying to maintain something that was going to go somewhere, but or what he hoped would go there, but he didn't know how serious Cade was, but he wanted to get it right, I think is what that was.
In the part where he wasn't actually seeing anything really spectacular, but he paints this beautiful picture for him. My husband needs to up his game, y'all. I want him to.
What? You do not say that. Your husband's game is fantastic.
It really is. My husband, me and Zane actually talk about it very often. We have talked about our husbands quite a few times because I think we both have very lovely relationships. We're very lucky that our love is as beautiful as it is, but he's not describing the world beautifully to me. As I close my eyes, he'd just be like, "There's a tree," What do you want from me, lady? It's a treat.
Being a guy. That's called being
Brown, green.
Straight guy. That's true. Straight guy.
God damn it. That's the
Well,
problem.
it is.
Straight
That's
man.
the problem.
Damn it.
I think it was also really awesome for Cade to see things through Neil's eyes as well. So even though he may have seen it a bajillion times, it's going to be different experiencing it through Neil.
Yeah. Well, and he continues to want that even after he can see again. He continues to even get back to Nashville. He
describe it to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's all part of their love language, I think.
And I love, so I was the dorky girl that always, like, in relationships was the secret. Like, not always, but there was relationships in high school where I was the secret because I was the fat dorky girl that was with the athlete or whatever, right? I love that it was the opposite in this. Not the opposite, but that even as the athlete, he would never, like, try to hide their relationship, never try to, like, when confronted by friends, was like, no. It made me feel so good. I just, like, I felt like almost vindicated for all the challenges I went and struggles I went through in high school. And there's a book I just literally 6 months ago threw out the window, DNF'd it, because it picked at those feelings of being the secret. And I was like, why do I want to relive this shit? This was the most miserable experience of my life. As a 45-year-old adult, that 15-year-old experience should still not sit with me the way it does, right? But this book did the opposite, almost like healed some of that trauma I went through, even though it wasn't even my story. You know, it was so beautifully done.
Thank you.
I keep saying it was beautifully done. This whole book is just beautifully done.
It's perfect. It's literally perfect.
Well, it was important to me also that is a healing thing. I think for everyone has felt that way. I think that's something that we can universally agree that we've all felt unseen or unappreciated like that. Mm-hmm. Not to discredit Cade very much on this, but he was pissed off during that time too. So there's part of that was him just being pissed off and him just really being ticked off at his friends. You know, because they just avoided him completely while he
disappeared.
Disappeared on him. All of them.
And they caused it.
Well, they caused it. Oh, and Trevor Anderson appears again in book 2, so just so you know. He's the one who caused the accident. But
they never really said, I'm sorry. I mean, they said it, but they didn't mean it. Yeah.
Thank you for noticing that. These type of people, not just children, don't feel the responsibility to that at all.
Right.
I think it gets worse as we go up the economic echelon.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
So we're at that stage with them and whatever. But Trevor makes a reappearance, and I forget to tell you where, but it's at Bellaterre, which is Cade's house, and it's a big like event scene and whatever. And Neil handles that.
Oh, and good job.
He reminds him of how they first met. And and what happened, which was in, book 1, and handles it, and that's one of the scenes that he impresses Cade's mother the most, and that she realizes that okay, I get it now.
So when is the audio version of book 2 coming out? Is it going to come out with book 2 like all at once?
Well, I have a little bit of an issue because unfortunately, Juan Martinez, who did book 1, has told me that he's not available to do book 2. So I'm going to have to find another person to do that. And I don't know how. I know I'm completely devastated by it. So it's like I invited him today also to talk about this, and he's not a camera person. He's such a wonderful guy, but I don't think he really went.
He's an in the booth person.
And that's fair. A lot of narrators, that's why they hide behind I don't know if you've seen, there's quite a few narrators that wear masks. They wear like sunglasses and hats and all these things because they're not camera people. And we've never forced anybody, even Emma. I didn't know if Emma was going to come join us live. I kept on saying, we're not forcing anybody to do anything. If you don't want to be on camera, by all means, you don't have to.
It was a split-second decision.
Yay!
I love it. Thank you for coming on live with us and being part of the buddy read and really enjoying the book.
I loved it. This has been the best. And what a great first time and first group of people to go live with. This has just made my day. Your book has made my day. Like I said, I'm so excited to share this with my daughter. You did good.
Thank you.
You really did. Now, how can we support you more? What can we do to support you as an author?
I think just keep talking about it to people that you think it matters to. And I think that it probably matters to more people than you think. I think the more, there's a lot of people just really, I think they need especially right now, especially young people need a little more positivity about this. Cause I think especially younger people who haven't seen, all the hills and valleys of, what is happening around us right now, that I think that, they're the ones that are the most vulnerable because they don't see the other side of the hill yet. Right. And so the positivity, I think, of this story, I think really I think it's mostly for young people to just kind of give them hope that this isn't the reality they're living in right now, especially if you're trans or if you're, it feel different. If you're neurodivergent like Mads is, or, it's like there's the positivity right now is just not always that visible to you right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to send a copy. My daughter, her first boyfriend's trans in foster care, and it was very, our house was we're really upset when his foster family decided that he needed to go to a new home. I didn't know how to gracefully say that, but basically they rehomed him. And so our whole household was on the edge. Like, we're all sobbing, worried, because it's such a hard life in general. Then add in foster care, already a hard life, then add this layer of being a trans youth in foster care. And what is that going to look like? And we're given cards with my phone number on, and we're like anything we can to make sure that he felt like he was going to be somebody, that he had somebody on his side no matter what. Thankfully, he's been homed in a very, very loving lesbian household that is very accepting and caring and lets him come over and see my daughter still to this day. But he doesn't have a lot of positivity, and there's not a lot of, representation in a positive manner like this. So this book is something that next time he's here, he's going to get a copy.
It triggers a lot of conversations. Has your book gone to
any high schools? Is it in any high schools or anything? Have you looked into getting them?
So I went into the American Librarian Association's conference this year. It probably won't make it in until next year. So I'm still hoping that it'll be there. I would donate books to schools if they would just put it in their library. There's so many people.
That's amazing.
That is so amazing. I'm already starting to think of places that I can buy and take your books. There used to be a place, which makes me really sad. How I started on Book Talk here is I used to do a lot of charity work, and I worked at Starbucks. So I did through Starbucks. And in DC, there's a place called Casa Ruby that I was really, really big about. And it's an at-risk LGBTQ youth homeless shelters. Basically, they, because as we know, the queer youth are one of the most homeless communities out there, especially at that age range. So I would always I'd sew stockings, and then we do charity donations where people donate all the different stocking stuffers in it. Unfortunately, that organization, the head organizer, stole all the money and ran. So that is no longer a place. But I'm thinking there might be homes like that. I probably can find something like that where these books would be really, really wonderful.
Baso's a teacher in the UK.
Yes, Baso. Have you ever, Zan? Am I saying that right, Zan? It's not Zane. I said Zane earlier, and I was like, that's Zan. It's not Zane, woman. Yeah, I apologize. So Zan, Baso, Zan. He's one of our really good author friends, and we are doing a live next Sunday with him at noon as well. And he's in the UK, and he does. Baso, am I correct? You do high school age kids. I know it's they call it something different in the UK, but high school age. Because
I know, but they're feisty, those kids.
Oh yeah. Poor Baso gets harassed by his students way too often.
It's usually pretty funny.
Yeah. That's the experience.
So 11 through 18 would be a great, I definitely think 13 on would be great for this book, 100%. So, okay, Zan, will you let us know would you let us know if you can think of anything that we can do to support you? And will you remind us when your book 2 is coming out so we can be your biggest cheerleader and hype ladies.
Yeah, book two's coming out in November, so it's on schedule. It's in editing now. It's done. So, and I'm about a quarter of the way through book 3, which is the prequel. So, yeah.
I have a question. Where can we get signed copies of said book for our trophies?
Yeah, if you go to zanhough.com, I'm going to reopen my direct sales again. Right now, most of my sales went to Amazon, but there's a button that says "Get a signed copy" from me, and you can order it directly from.
Yay!
There you go. See.
Oh, lucky duck. I gotta have one for my shelf trophy because it was so good.
Yeah, I have a lot of shelf trophies too.
It really is amazing. Now, ladies, do you have any other questions for Zan before we let him go on his day?
No. Thank you so much for coming on with us, Zan.
And Zan, do you have anything you would like to let everybody know that you're working on? We already talked about book 2. Is there anything else you'd like the world to know?
I think that, a couple of things. I've got a book signing in Douglasville, Georgia. If anybody's out there, you can join me there. That's going to be at Bookworm on, September 19th. So I'll be there. And then I'm going to be doing, probably the launch for book 2 is going to be at Black Dog Books in Tucker, Georgia. And a little side note to Tucker, Georgia, is it's this cute little town. This bookstore sits right in the middle between the high school and the middle school. And there's a downtown between. Wouldn't you love to go to school in a town like that?
That would be so
I am
cool.
going to Tucker, Georgia, probably in a few months.
Are you?
What is the chances? Like, it really is not a big town, and I've never been, but I have a customer there, so I have to go to Tucker, Georgia here in a few months. We're still planning process, but yeah.
This is this cute bookstore, and I actually wrote a story around it. It's not called Black Dog in the book. It's actually, I don't know if you can see. I have a model of it back here, but there's a story called The Whitaker Boys that I've written. That's in editing next month, and what it is a story about 3 brothers. So there's a whole lot of boy banter in that story.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Tucker High School. The youngest one is gay. The middle one, he plays lacrosse, and his best friend, Trip, that he plays lacrosse with, he winds up falling in love with the younger brother. So it becomes this really cute story, and it's based around Black Dog, but I've changed the name of Black Dog Books, and it's The Fox and the Fable, I think is the name of the bookstore.
Oh, that's so cute.
And it's I think it's a really cute story. It's not a long read. It's only maybe about 60,000 words, but it's based around the 3 boys, all this boy banter, but they how boys fight with each other, but at the same time they support each other. And so the youngest one being the gay one, he just kind of he has a much better time at it than a lot of people do, but there's still going to be some problems that are going to come up and whatever, especially, now he's dating a lacrosse player. It's going to be but it's based in Tucker, Georgia. So it's a lot of fun to have built it around this bookstore. And,
that's so cool.
And when is that coming out?
That it's in editing next month, so I'm hoping to have that one out in January, maybe February at the latest.
Okay, sir. So you're going to just have books after books after books coming out.
Yeah, there's one I've been writing for 30 years that's almost done, and it's called Grand River, and that's based out of a little town in western Michigan. Just it's in between Grand Rapids and Lansing, and that's a story of a farming community. And this kid who is also an athlete, he's a basketball player in this case. You see a theme here?
Were you an athlete or were you the mathlete?
No, I was definitely a mathlete.
Those athletes sure are pretty.
They sure are. Well, and that's kind of based on a true story, or how I hoped it would have happened. I lost a friend in high school when I was in a little town called Saranac, Michigan, and his name was Mark, and he wound up he died before graduation. And so a lot of my stories have been more what should have happened. And if it's based on a real story, then it's what should have happened instead of what actually happened, because no one wants to hear that.
So you've been working on that for 30 years, you say?
I've been working on that since he died in 1989, so a little more than 30 years. So and it's not him as the character, but it's what I wished for him, and also for my father. That story has a character that's based on my father, and that and the hope of that someone would choose love instead of the opposite.
Oh man! So it's going to be an emotionally pulling on the heartstrings book,
I think it's got some
Tissue
Blindsighted
warning?
vibes. It's actually the story that I worked on the longest, but decided Blindsighted was actually my it was more of the tool to learn how to write Grand River better.
Oh,
Because I'm
interesting.
too close to the story in Grand River.
I get
And I
that.
think that's why it's taken me 30 years to kind of figure out how to tell the story. And so Blindsided was just my way of like, okay, can I write a good story? Let's start with
Yes,
that.
yes, you can.
Yes. Answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And then how do I write that story? Because Grand River, I have a lot of my friends back home in Michigan have beta read that, and they were just like, no, you can't publish that. It wasn't good. It just wasn't good.
But that was your 30 years in the making book, and now you've written Blindsided. It's gone really well. Are you going to then rewrite the 30-year book? Like, just not from scratch, but kind of with the new knowledge of Blindsided to...
I've written it now 3 times since Blindsided.
Okay. Perfectionist. You're making it perfect. We love it.
So I think I've written it correctly this time. I don't think I've got the ending yet. My father is actually very ill right now. He has cancer, and he's probably in his last year. So it's like I think that there's something in his transition that is keeping me from publishing it because it's just not quite right until probably he's gone for me to publish it.
As somebody who's lost her dad and stepdad and know how challenging that is, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. It is not easy to have a sick parent, and I am sorry. But when you're ready to release it, let us know. We are going to be your official cheerleaders from this point forward. Yay! So just know you got a book coming out. Let us know, and we'll be your cheerleaders. Okay?
Okay, will do. Thank you. It was just, what else did I mention? Oh, there's a little hint back here. If you see this book, it's not very clear, but it's actually a kid's book called A Room with a View. And there's a lot of references to E.M. Forster's A Room with a View in the original book. And I discovered this one by Zan Hough is her, and I actually heard from her. I reached out to her because this book is mentioned in book 2 towards the end. Cool. And it plays a big role in one more thing that they do going forward into book, I guess that would be book 4. So I wanted to give a shout out to her for allowing me to do that. She was very congratulatory about the book series. So
I feel like authors are some of the kindest people in the world. They just want to see other authors succeed like them. Like, I feel like 100%. It's not like I don't want to support you because you're a writer and you might be in my way. It's not, I've not heard that. Yeah, it's not been jealousy, like weird, I'm not helping you because you may be my competition. It's more like, yeah, let's go. Let's support you and raise you up too. I love that.
I was in a very competitive field before, and it's like everyone was fighting each other. That's kind of the world, corporate America now. But yeah, writers have been great.
I know that life, corporate America. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for writing this beautiful, beautiful book. Anybody who's on here still, Blindsighted, Zan Hough, pick it up. It is one of the best books ever. I'm about to hit 46,000 followers, and I think I'm going to do like a loot box giveaway, and I'm going to add this as one of the things to give away because it just is my favorite book of the year. So thank you so much for writing this amazing book and talking with us today.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Oh,
Yay,
thank you.
Thank you.
And ladies, thank you. Obviously, Ginger, you're always with us. And Emma, congratulations on your first live ever.
Yay. Can't wait to do it again.
Perfect. And everybody have a wonderful day. And bye, Blindsighted. Support Zan now.
Read it.
It's the best.
It's the best.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.